Here we have a new 2022 Chevrolet Malibu. This one comes in the Premier trim level. And this color is going to be mineral gray metallic. And then our interior is going to consist of jet black perforated leather. And for our powertrain, we do get the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, made it with a 9-speed automatic transmission. And as we get around front here, we do have this fascia that carries over for the Premier starting in, I think, like 2019, 2020, which I do like. And I love that they have the LEDs in here. And down here we have 19-inch aluminum wheels. We get passive keyless entry on the front 2 doors. And going to the door panel here, we have our memory seat functions there, power door locks, power windows, power mirrors, and then we can do the driver's side window one-touch auto up and down. Cup holder, little map pocket there, pretty good size actually. And then we do get that Bose sound system, headlamp controls, and there we have our power driver seat with power lumbar support. But before we check out the rear seat room, let's go ahead and take a look at this window sticker. I want to give a huge shout out to Chevrolet of Murfreesboro for allowing me to review this car today. There we have all of our standard features, and I really like that we get a bunch. The only thing I'm missing is having the safety features I wish were standard on the Premier, but for $34,880, not a bad price for all that you get, especially having the sunroof and the Bose system standard. So hopping in the back seat here. So I've had 2 Malibu Premiers. Well, I've had 2 2016 Malibus. One was a Premier, one was an LT, and I had the leather package in it. But I love the legroom in these. I have the seat in front of me adjusted for someone of my size, and the seats up front are just very adjustable, having power on both sides. And being 6'3", I'm able to sit behind the seat in front of me, even though the one up front is adjusted for someone of my size with long legs as well. So really impressed by that. But one thing that my Premier that was a 16 didn't have was the heated outboard seats, which I love come standard. But there we have our AC vents. We do have this 120 volt 3-prong household plug-in, which I loved having that in mind. And you also have the additional charging port as well as the 12 volt right there. And I just love how open this interior is with the sunroof. It's just really, really nice. Feels very luxurious for a car that's under $40,000. There are the cup holders in the middle. Well, let's go ahead and check out the trunk space next. And then I do love these newer taillights that they put on the Malibu refresh in 2019. Really, really nice. And plenty of trunk space there. And we can fold that rear seat down on either side. I'm just going to demonstrate that. When you pull that, fold this down, it'll fold flat and you can run longer objects or more storage if you need that and still have that seat over there, and vice versa. And then to lock it back, just pull it up, and really easy to move. And then we have our fuel tank here, which we just press that. And we have a filler without a cap. And of course, with a 2-liter turbo, premium is recommended, but you don't need to use that. Shouldn't cause you any issues. And then here is our front passenger seat. That's power with power lumbar support. And this really was, when I had mine, one of the nicest things to have when I had a passenger, just being able to have that same adjustability on the front passenger seat as the driver's seat. But I just love that front fascia. I wish Chevy would make an electric one of these, because I have a Mach-E and I've had a Tesla, but if they had an electric Malibu, I would definitely get one, because these are just really, really good cars. And I think I had two that had about 60, 70,000 miles on both of them and never had any huge issues in terms of maintenance and repair. But there's that 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. And now let's go ahead and hop in the driver's seat. So really nice padding on this leather wrap steering wheel here. I just love that 3-spoke look. Even though it is dated, I really do like it. And that heated steering wheel toggle is there. Now going to the radio here, I'm gonna close this sunshade. We do get AM, FM, and XM radio along with Bluetooth audio. And then we get wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, which is nice to have. And there is our navigation system, and we do have the XM gas prices pulled up there, so you can see how much the gas is going for, which that seems kind of cheap. I might need to get some. And then we have our backup camera, HD view, and we have our guidelines that turn as we turn the steering wheel. And then we do have dual zone automatic climate controls, so you can use the buttons here. And I love how responsive this system is. Just really easy to use, not a lot of lag there. And then you can see how quick it is, because when you hit the button here, look how quick it comes up over there. Crazy. And you can cut that off. Of course, you have actual knobs and buttons here. And we have those 3-stage heated and cooled seats for the driver and the front passenger. And then down here we have a USB-C, USB-A, and aux input there. And then an SD card reader for that navigation system, along with the 12-volt. Now, for our shifter, like I said, we have a 9-speed automatic transmission. To put it in gear, you just hit this button here, pull down for reverse, neutral, drive, and then low mode. And then we actually can manually shift here in that low mode. And then we have an electronic parking brake here. Pull up to engage, press down to disengage. Wireless charging pad there. Pretty good size center console cubby space. Let's take a look at this back seat before we check out this sunroof. And I really like that it's one touch for the sunshade, and then one touch tilt, and then you hit it a second time to slide it, and then goes all the way back. But this is one of my favorite things about the Malibu Premier, is this sunroof is just really nice, and it really makes that big of a difference in terms of having like really good lighting in here. And if you don't want it, you have that shade there. And there are the controls for that. LED dome lights. And there's our glove compartment, which I never did. I wish it was a little deeper, but it was able to fit everything I had in it when I had mine. And I love how all of this feels like, even though it's plastic and this is kind of padded, that feels nice, that looks nice, and even the black plastic up here looks nice. But to the steering wheel controls, we have the cruise control there. Like I said, the heated steering wheel toggle there. Voice recognition controls here, and then we have these 4 arrows and that check to use for our gauge cluster. That middle part is digital. And I really like the view there. But behind the steering wheel on the left side, we have our track list or radio station preset controls. And then behind the steering wheel on the right side, we have our volume controls. And there's our push button start. And finally, here is our key fob with remote start. But next, we're going to go ahead and take this Malibu Premier out on the road for a quick test drive. So I really like how this 9-speed shifts as opposed to the 8-speed I had in my 16. I think they went with a 9-speed for the 2-liter turbo in either 17, 18, something like that. But this is just a really smooth shifting transmission, kind of like it is in the Blazer. Just really, really seamless. And the 8-speed was decent, but the 9-speed is just really, really good. Not a lot of shudders and shakes like I got out of my 8-speed. And this powertrain really does pull, and that's one of the reasons that I liked having the 2-liter turbo in mind. Just really good acceleration, and this 9-speed is so much quicker in terms of finding that point where you want to be, and just really pulling, really impressive. Now, one thing I wish I did have, like I've said several times in this review, having a Premier, I would want at least standard adaptive cruise. But one thing that you can't touch this car on is the ride quality. And having both of mine, I got compliments like that all the time. People would say, hey, this is one of the smoothest cars I've ever been in. I'm like, yeah, I know. It just rides really well. It kind of rides like a Buick, but it drives, I'm trying to think what a good comparison would be. I mean, it drives like a Malibu, really. So the steering is not touchy, but not necessarily firm. I'd say it's not soft and not firm at the same time, but a very plush ride. And it just drives like it should for a car of this size, this magnitude, being a 4-door sedan. We'll give it a little pull here. So like I said, especially from a stop and it being front wheel drive, this thing will try and burn rubber. And I've done that several times in mine. But the engine is just really peppy. And in terms of overall comfort, like I said, this is one of the most comfortable cars I've been in. Just the seats feel really nice. The ride quality is great. And it just drives normal. It's not like being in a new Lexus and it's like, oh, this ride quality is great, but I don't really know how to drive this thing. This just drives like you're used to, especially without having the standard safety technology on this, which I would like to have, but I get why these will sell, because specifically for your older crowd that doesn't necessarily like the newer technology, this is going to feel familiar yet more luxurious. And I do like what they've done with the gauge cluster here, just having all this digital up here in the middle instead of just that little box that they had in the older models. But I mean, with all of that, I wish they just would have gone all digital. But like I've said before, for 35 grand, really a good choice. Having heated cooled seats up front, heated seats in the back, heated steering wheel, sunroof, all that standard. Not a bad buy at all. But with all that being said, this is going to bring me to an end of my review of the 2022 Chevrolet Malibu Premier.